Is a person in your life seemingly beholden to conspiracism and regularly sharing misinformation? You may be in the midst of a deteriorating relationship with this person, increasingly unable to find common ground or experiencing fatigue from conversations that all too often devolve into unproductive arguments. Depending on your history with this person, you may simply be flummoxed by his or her descent into what you consider foolishness or even madness, or even deeply saddened by the loss of a previously treasured relationship. The adage goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The same principle is true of trying to bring someone you care about out of conspiracism. It's unlikely you will be able to provide evidence or reasoning sufficient for them to abandon a conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories are by nature irrefutable and will always be able to explain away evidence to the contrary. Overwhelming someone with data and rational arguments, while convincing to you, will generally amount to nothing more than shouting into the void. It may be satisfying to believe you have all the answers, and you may feel a genuine call to try to rescue someone in the throes of misinformation. But there is a better way to do this. First, avoid getting into arguments about these things over social media. Facebook threads, with their public visibility and lack of nuance, are not the most hospitable environments for productive conversations. After all, when was the last time you saw a heated argument resolved by a finely worded and timely placed comment? Instead, be discerning about when you are inspired to approach someone who shares questionable links or news via social media. Ask yourself, are you wanting to simply correct them for being wrong, or do you have a genuine desire for their well-being? If you know them well, consider writing to them in private and asking them out to coffee or lunch. It's better to have important conversations over the phone or in person, and this removes the possibility of misinterpreting tone or tenor of words on a screen. When you do have conversations with people about conspiracy theories or misinformation, I encourage you to do more listening than talking. In the New Testament, James chapter 1 tells us to be quick to listen and slow to speak. This is excellent advice to follow when engaging with someone prone to conspiracism and misinformation. Explain that you're wanting to learn why they're passionate about that topic. Ask them where they first heard of it or learned about it. Ask them why they find it so convincing or compelling, and if they'd ever had doubts about what they'd heard about it. You can admit that it sounds a bit far-fetched or out there to you, maybe even offering a short reason or two why. But remember, your goal isn't to try to convert the person in that moment, but rather to dig down into what is driving them to conspiracism and misinformation. Above all, do this without being condescending or infantilizing. The goal is not to belittle or demean, but to provoke introspection and critical thinking in someone you care deeply about. Finally, you should come to terms with the possibility that after your outreach and engagement efforts, the person may not change his or her mind. There's a fantastic comment from the website XKCD that shows a person sitting at a computer and explaining why he'll be late to bed. Someone is wrong on the internet. It's a helpful reminder that despite our best efforts, we won't be able to eliminate all the problems of the information age. People will choose incorrect information and adopt conspiratorial belief systems. Accepting that you won't win over your friend or loved one right away, maybe ever, will give you the freedom to maintain a relationship with that person apart from their conspiracism. Try to focus your relationship on things far from their conspiracy theory. Develop shared interests apart from toxic politics or cultural conspiracies. In short, be okay with not changing the person's mind. Consider your role as someone who can lovingly and faithfully sow the seeds of truth without the promise of reaping a possible harvest.